right, welcome to the live stream today on Saturday, August 19th. All right, as I alluded to in the video in the title description, we are getting ready for a hurricane hitting in California, which is a very rare occurrence. I mean, we don't get hurricanes out here. So I am in a show called 42nd Street down in Vista. It is an amphitheater, so we will not be doing the show tomorrow night, which is kind of a godsend because we've been going every single night since Saturday. So it'll cut down from 7 days down to only only 6. So a good break for us, but it's going to be a lot of rain. A lot of people are taking this really super seriously, and I don't want to downplay any particular, if there are any flooding or any kind of getting people in trouble. Where I'm living, we're fine. We're going to be absolutely fine. I know some rural parts might be a little more water than they're used to. It's looking like 4 inches or so plus, for those that, in the deserts where they don't get rain. So it'll be very, very weird. I know Vegas is kind of prepping up. Vegas is known for flash floods. Flash floods happen this time of year in Vegas all the time. So, but we're just in here where I live. I think we'll be fine. I think there won't be a thing that we worry about. In where my town, north of us, one of the cities that I do work with, they had some flooding issues when they had the fires, but that might have been related to the fires. So I think they'll be okay. The people that I talked to weren't too worried. They were expecting it to be a nice bit of rain, and frankly, a very welcome bit of rain after this last week, which has been very, very hot. Like the week before. The summer in Southern California, to me, hasn't been that bad. It's been warm. It's summertime. It's always warm in the summertime. But, this last week is when it just, became unbearably hot. Oh, okay. Now we're getting into summer, which is August. And where I live, summer usually goes from, August into mid-September. And then where I live in Temecula here, it's really hot, and all of a sudden you just fly off a cliff, and it becomes really cold at night, freezing cold. I remember in band, we'd have band camp at the end of August, and it was super hot. Oh my God, this is horrible. But then the first football game comes around in late September, and you're freezing your butt off out there on the field because it's so cold. So it's always a little good and back and forth. Greetings and citations from the tiny island of funny English accents. Is that Madagascar? Oh, I'm just kidding. Obviously, it's the UK. Our friends in the UK. I'd love to go to visit the UK. I mean, that's on my list of places to go outside the United States. The UK is probably the top of my list, partly because I can understand most of the language. Most of the time I can. I mean, there are parts in, maybe the Welsh, maybe a little troublesome. If I go too far north of Scotland, it might be kind of hard, but I can understand most of if I stick around London and Lower England, I'd probably be okay. Hello, Meow Wang is welcome back. Jack Ripper, hello, how you doing? Hope Vey Victus there. Hope you're good, man. I'm doing all right. I'm hyper tired from the show because we've been literally doing the show every night since Saturday night. So Saturday was a long day. That's why last week I didn't do the stream on Saturday because I was down in Vista the whole day, and it turned out I took my laptop to work on stuff, but it overheated. It was really annoying. It literally overheated, and I took it home. I think I told the story last time. It cooled down. Bullet Sign says, get yourself an inflatable boat. Yeah. That's a very, very big no-no here in California. Every time there's a lot of rain, people kayak down the LA River and usually get arrested for doing that because it's not. You never know where you're going to end up in the LA River or any river. In a country where you have streams that regularly flow, that's a little safer because you know where it's going to happen. But if you're kayaking or rubber boating or down a river that's dry 11 months of the year, you don't know what kind of crap you're going to run into. So it's very dangerous to kayak or do anything in a flooding situation of a river, that kind of thing. So I am super tired. I've been did a couple. I did 3 shoots this week, very small shoots. But they had me getting up early in the morning, and after doing a show that takes you up to 11:30 at night. I get home about 11:30, and you're wired because you did a show. You're like, I'm wired. So you have to like, I shouldn't eat something, but I do. I eat something. I try to like balance it by not eating too much for dinner, or not eating dinner maybe, or eat just a little bit of dinner. Anyhow, but you eat something and then you're like, I want to do something because I'm still wired, and then you go to bed at 1 and have to wake up at like 6:30. Oh, and then do the shoot, and then it's also blazing hot. Like even though we do the shoots in the morning, like once we wrap up around like 10:30, it starts to get really hot, and yeah, that's just been so draining on me. So, and then I started my class this week. If any of my students are watching, hi. Make sure you do your reading assignments, your viewing assignments. Yeah, so I started the class this week, and it's going to be a good class. It's going to be good. I think they've got a good crop of students too this week. Watch anything good this week? That's a good question. So in my class, that's my writing assignment for all the students. Every week they have to tell me something they watched that they intrigued, they thought was good. I mean, I've been kind of going through some more podcasts. I started getting into Bill Maher's Club Random podcast. I think it's rather interesting. So my big pet peeve is like these certain podcasters. What they'll do is they'll interview somebody, right? And what they'll do is they'll take a snippet of that interview, and then they'll put it up front as a teaser. But I've seen some podcasters, like they'll put like a 3 or 4 or 5 minute teaser up front. And it's annoying because it's like usually a topic you're interested in, and then like you want to hear like how you led up to it, and you want to hear how you resolve it, but they make you listen like a 5 minute teaser intro, and it's like 5 minutes long, and then they go back to the beginning of the interview where it's like, I want to introduce this established researcher, and it's like I just hate that format. I really hate the format. It's like either just give me the whole podcast. I don't want to have to get a taste of it that I'm really interested in, and have to go back and then do all the pleasantries like how you doing, what kind of book are you trying to promote? It's like I don't know. Anyhow, so what's kind of cool about Club Random with Bill Maher is he literally just starts the show like in the middle of a conversation. It just like starts, and there's no introductions necessarily. It's just they just start talking, and then just talk for a while. And there's no direction. It's just people just talking, and it's nothing more than that really. But it's really friendly. It feels like it's not like abrasive. People seem to be getting along. It's not like full of drama. It's more just chilled, laying back. So I really enjoy watching that one podcast. Hey, account for everything. Been through a few hurricanes. Never once had remembered any of it. Only a governor warning. Just like snow, could be dangerous. If you have shelter, you are likely fine. Yeah, I think we're gonna be good. Yeah, and then Meowing was saying like we're being told that we have winds of less than 35 miles per hour. Yeah, I mean we have what's called Santa Ana winds, which pick up every like year, and those are more than 35 miles per hour. Those are like 50 miles an hour. They're pretty strong winds, and it's just part of the way the geography works in California. You have those really crazy winds. So this is not gonna be anything. All right. Well, I wonder what happened to the homeless population. That's kind of the bigger question, I think. The thing about the homeless population is they tend to gather around the lakes, the water beds. That's always the dangerous thing, because they'll live under the bridge, or that's where they camp out. So they've been kind of moving them out as much as they can from those areas, because it is dangerous. Hey, you don't want to be caught in a flash flood with those people like stuck there. So we'll see what they have for them. But I'm thinking they have like shelters and stuff like that open. The officials are they're watching this stuff. They're not idiots. Some of them aren't, but most of them are. They're kind of familiar with what's going to happen, and the cities are preparing for it. You saw something that made me think of you. I saw that Thomas Edison tried to chokehold the film industry in his infancy. Have you ever covered this in IQ sessions? I talked about this in my class the other day, actually. So I don't think so. I think people make out Thomas Edison to be a worse figure than he was, and I'm going to blame the oatmeal. Remember that comic called The Oatmeal, the web comic? I think it took a very, very naive stance about Thomas Edison. Here's the fact, okay? So during this period of time, we would call the Gilded Age, a period of like moguls, like railroad tycoons. Like, shout out to the game. The tycoons, moguls, Andrew Carnegie, all these J.P. Morgan, all these really big financial monsters back in the day. Thomas Edison would be inside that group of people. The fact of the matter is, it was cutthroat capitalism. Like, we talk about free market today, and we don't realize how nasty free market, for like truly like anarchistically free markets look like. They don't look good. I mean, there's a lot of swindling. I kind of talk a little bit about that with my, and we're talking Gilded Age. We're talking like 1870s to like 1910s, 1920s area. And when I did the research on the William Fox book, William Fox is kind of the tail end of that, right? I know I'm kind of getting way off track, sidetracked, and I want to talk about Edison here. But let me take the comment down real quick. So there's sections in William Fox's thing where basically William Fox bought his first arcade in New York City because he went and saw like, oh, this place is busy. It's super, super cool. And the owner sold him this penny arcade, and he bought it, and then he opened it like a month, reinvented, opened it, and then nobody came. Nobody showed up. Turned out these guys were swindlers. Like the whole era is nothing but swindlers. People would come around and just steal stuff. Steal your idea, or try to pitch you an idea and run away with the money. Because this is early era. There's not a lot of like communications. You can't go on the internet and Google somebody and find out their history. This is an extremely wild kind of a Wild West capitalism, if you will, of the day. So Thomas Edison was caught up in this situation. Obviously there's a lot written about the whole Edison and Nikola Tesla the fight, which is kind of silly because I think even Edison at one point, Nikola Tesla worked for Edison at one point, and they weren't like super animus. I mean, sure, there was a little bit of competition, as there always is, but even the thing that they always talk about was the execution of the elephant. I forget the name of the elephant. The elephant had to be put down, so they wanted to use AC current to electrocute it because they wanted to show off how AC was so dangerous. But the fact of the matter, at that point, AC was already the agreed upon standard. It wasn't like they were still trying to push DC power for transmission. Anyhow, so my point was, so let's go back to the film industry. Okay, so Edison's an inventor. He's kind of like a Steve Jobs in a sense, in that he invented some things. He did work on the phonograph, but then he makes his money, and then he hires other people to invent other stuff for him. That's what he basically invented the research park, right, in Menlo, New Jersey, right? Is it Menlo, New Jersey? I think it is. But anyhow, so he puts William Kennedy Dixon in charge of making film. He meets with Muybridge, who's the guy that's famous for that dancing, not dancing, but the galloping horse animation. He meets with Muybridge, thinks it's a cool idea. I want to develop my own thing. He invents a kinetoscope. That's really cool. Takes the kinetoscope to Paris for like a world fair, and then the Lumiere brothers see the kinetoscope, like, that's pretty cool, but it'd be cooler, let's put that in a theater, let's put that in a little room. So they had their first projection in Cafe Paris. I think it's called the Grand Cafe in Paris. You should go there. It looks pretty swanky. I don't know if I could afford the food there, but anyhow, so the Lumiere brothers projected on a screen. Edison's like, hey, that sounds like a good idea. I'm going to steal that idea and project it here in the States. Like literally 4 months later, the United States had their first projected screening. So basically, everyone was stealing everyone's ideas. Everyone was trying to one up the other person. And the fact of the matter is, if Edison didn't pursue like a stranglehold, not a stranglehold, but like a tightly controlled patent enforcement is what he was. So Edison bought up a bunch of companies, invent little inventions here and there, and then basically tried to squeeze out everybody else from the movie industry. As far as like projecting films, if you wanted to open a movie theater, you had to have a contract with his motion pictures patent company. and they would be supplying you with equipment, and you'd pay them a royalty. And at first, it started off as quote unquote a square deal for everyone, where everyone's making money and everyone's happy. Well, lawyers, right? I mean, it never starts off that way. It's like, don't be evil, but then it slowly turns into like, oh, you need to pay us this much. And so yes, the MPPC does become kind of a stranglehold using patents to control the industry. Now, was Edison directly involved with that? I don't think so. I think at that point when the MPPC becomes in power, talking like 1910s or so, Edison's sort of semi-retired. He's kind of like, I just want to focus on my favorite thing, which is the phonograph. Like, Edison's really in love with the phonograph. So he's like, yeah, you know what? Just let's put this patent attorney. I actually, a quote from my Fox video is the guy put in charge of the MPPC was a patent attorney from a family of patent attorneys. Like, that's just, you gotta know that Thanksgiving is gonna be a fun time when you go to a family get together and it's all patent attorneys. But anyhow, so basically they're just trying to squeeze all the money. And, and the fact of the matter is, we can look back and say, oh, they were evil for doing that. But the fact of the matter is, if they didn't do that, someone else would have done it and strangled them. It's literally dog eat dog. So you can't blame one person, Edison or Edison's company, for trying to stranglehold when literally everyone else would have done the same damn thing. So there was no option. However, it's not to say it's a good thing. Not to say that we want a stranglehold on an industry. In fact, it's a terrible thing. And if watch my video on William Fox, and he's the guy that kind of breaks down the monopoly. At least he leads the charge. Like he basically bankrolls the opposition to the patent attorneys, and he does win some pretty major court cases that just shuts down the MPPC, which is really great because that's basically the start of how the movie studios arise. Because when Edison had his monopolies on the film industry, basically you worked for Edison or you were an independent, and that was it. An independent, you were a small little creator. You made like a few movies. That's it. There was no studio system yet. You either Edison or not. But Fox changed that. Fox is one of the people that kind of led the charge to break up that monopoly, and then you have this explosion of all these different movie studios. So, yeah, good question. I always like talking about that stuff. Let's see your comments on that as I continue on. Yep, exactly. So, Hamera says, whenever there's money to be had, you're bound to find people that are just about getting that paper. Absolutely. And it's, look, we have a lot more protections in place. I would tend to find myself favoring the libertarian positions, but the thing about the thing about free markets is they're only free if they're enforced by the government. So if you have a completely anarchistic free market, then you don't have a free market, because it basically boils down to swindling and lying and cheating and short-term gain stuff. You have to have a government that's there strong enough to say, we will assist you in enforcing contracts. You can sue people for breaking contracts. You can sue for, there's some regulation in place. That's what makes a market free. If the market is just completely anarchistic, where there's no laws, no regulations, it's no longer free. And that's just the truth. And sometimes libertarians will forget that about free markets. So, and I think toward the late 1800s, 1900s, the markets were more anarchoistic, if you want to think about it. This is also when you have the rise of the unions too, right? So unions create an environment where there are more regulations as far as how the workplace, in terms of the free market of labor. Anyhow, we're getting super philosophical. I like it. I don't mind. What the hell? Let's talk about it. Filmmaker IQ, I'm in the future now. I have a progressive scan video monitor. Good for you. Yeah, we all do. That's awesome. Well, you forget that we had progressive scan monitors back when we had CRT televisions. They're called computer monitors. Like the old school computer monitors weren't interlaced. They're progressive scan. Like my old, we had our old computers, even, I don't know how far back it goes. I wonder if it goes back to the Apple II. I mean, the Apple II, I think, was probably a progressive scan. Because you're sitting close to a monitor, you don't really want that interlacing thing. And the monitors didn't have to worry about. See, part of the thing with interlacing was you need to regulate the signal to reduce the bandwidth for over-the-air broadcast. If you're a computer monitor, you're not broadcasting. You're not worried about the data rate, not the data rate, the bandwidth. You're not worried about the bandwidth of the signal. Interlacing helps with the bandwidth of the signal. You can't see with interlacing. You can't feed a screen 60 full rasters, 60 full lines a second, but you can feed it 30 full lines a second. But if you don't have to worry about the bandwidth of the internet, of the over-the-wave broadcast, then you can just feed it all the data you want. That's kind of cool. Matthew says Disney created the digital replicas of background actors in WandaVision without paying those actors or explaining the purpose of the scans to begin with. The actors strike wants to regulate this. Good for them. Did I not say I have been on this since the last Infinity War movie? All right, since the last Marvel's Infinity War Endgame, I've been saying this, and I was saying Disney's in deep shit. I'm gonna use the word here, but literally, they are. Like, have you seen? I guess the word is out now. They're being sued by TSG. I think the TSG for like inflating numbers or doing something, messing with the numbers as far as the sales. And on top of that, their market cap is like half of what it was. So they lost a ton of money. So, I'm telling you, and this is, back in the day, when Disney bought Fox and everyone was like, oh my God, Disney's going to take over. Disney's going to take over everything. We're all going to be slaves of Disney. Look at how the mighty have fallen. It's, that's that's the thing. When you get old enough, and I'm sure some of you guys are old as I, or probably older than me, like you start seeing patterns. It's like, oh yeah, they're getting really big there. Yeah, they should probably be careful there. There they go. Back down. I don't know, I'm tired. After Endgame, I gave up on the MCU. WandaVision was entertaining. Like, WandaVision gave you like a hint of, hey, we could do something interesting and different with this universe. But then, after that, it was just nothing. And then, to me, the ultimate slap in the face was She-Hulk. I defended She-Hulk the first couple episodes. You can go back and watch my live stream. I was like, hey, I know where they're going to go with this. She's going to like... No. They were so bad about it. Yeah, it's pretty bad. What do you think about the drama surrounding Rachel Ziegler? Okay, I was talking to my friend about this yesterday. Here's my thing. It bothers me that the right wing are complaining about her skin color. Like don't do that, guys. Like, realistically, Rachel Ziegler looks like Snow White. She just does. People annoys me when people call her Snow Brown. She's not brown. She's like the lightest skinned Latina I've ever seen. Maybe not ever seen, but she's pretty light skinned. And frankly, when you actually put her in the dress and she looks like the way she looks, she's fine. She's a perfect Snow White to me. It doesn't bother me. I don't believe the whole skin as white as snow. Oh, you're going to get an albino. If you got an albino to play a Snow White, you would say that doesn't look like the character. Because Snow White, even as Disney drew it and animated in 1930, whatever it was, she had a little bit of flesh color. She had a little peachiness to her. She wasn't pure albino, So I don't like that whole angle of saying, oh, she can't play because her skin is not white as snow. That's like borderline. That's borderline, like kind of. I don't want to say racist, but it's like, guys, you gotta be a little bit more open. You gotta open up your minds a little bit more. She's physically a perfect. I think she's got the princess look, the cute princess features of Snow White. Now, what has she said? Boy, that's another can of worms. Look, the weird thing is, we had other Snow Whites. We had Twilight Star as Snow White and the Huntsman. We had where she was more of a girl boss then, and we all of a sudden forgot about that movie. Like the Disney folks, that movie doesn't exist now. And it's Charlize Theron as the freaking evil stepmom. I don't think I ever saw that movie. Kristen Stewart, that's her name. Kristen Stewart, not Twilight girl. But yeah, we forget that movie existed. We had other Snow Whites. Like, like, I'm not talking to the audience. I'm talking to Rachel Ziegler. We've had other Snow Whites. It's not like you're trailblaze. It's not like you guys are trailblazing here. You know. The problem though is if you're gonna make Snow White and like get rid of the stocky prints and all that stuff, you're gonna get rid of all the, then do what Snow White and the Huntsman did and just make a different Snow White. But what they're doing is they're putting Snow White in the classic Snow White outfit that you should see the photos of her in that classic animated yellow skirt and the blue puffy thingies, that thing. Then that seems kind of a weird take to just be all like, I hate that old version. That old version scared me. I only watched it once. And yeah, that's not good. That's not helping. It's literally forcing. Look, you guys might remember when I watched that Pinocchio. They didn't make a big fuss about Pinocchio. That Pinocchio was the worst, by far the worst Disney remake I've ever seen. Like, they're so bad that they just kind of tucked it on Disney Plus and just kind of hid it away from everybody. Snow White might be getting that direction. Might be heading toward that. I don't think it's as bad as Pinocchio because that Pinocchio was god awful. Was so bad. Like, we forget about how bad that Pinocchio was. We think, that horrible remake, The Lion King. Lion King was okay, but that Pinocchio, my God, that was terrible. But anyhow, let's get back to your comments. Himera says, hey, off my lawn. Good point. Let's get off his lawn. So old computer monitors were not interlaced but properly progressive. Interesting. You learned something every day. Yeah, they were. Yeah, the old computer monitors, and then they had different dot pixel resolution. So like, an old computer monitor might be, 1280 by, I forget, 768, I think was the number. They had pretty good resolutions. They had much better resolution. They called dot pixel resolution or dots per inch, DPI. They had better DPI because you're sitting closer to them and you had to be able to see better, because a television was designed to be seen from far away. So they have different applications. Samuel L. Jackson made a point when signing contracts. He said publicly, if it says in perpetuity, when I signing his likeness, he said, scratches that shit out. Yeah, exactly. Well, if you're famous, like for small projects and you're not famous, in perpetuity is sort of a way just to get you. They call it a buyout. Like, and the thing is, look, if you're an actor, if you're a model, and you just are doing a small time job for like, let's say, actually my friend works for a casino that's pretty large, and so he'll talk about this a little bit. What they'll do, so with some actors, is they'll do either like a 2-year contract. So we own your likeness for this footage, that we're shooting right here on this project. We're going to pay you like $1,000 a day. So maybe do like 3 days, 3 or 4. You're going to get $4,000 or $5,000. Let's say that for a week of work. And we're going to own your likeness in the footage we shoot for 2 years. Then we can use that in our commercials. Or they might do like a whole buyout. Like maybe they'll say like $1,500 a day, but we own it in perpetuity. We can use this footage in perpetuity for the rest of the time. And that's a deal. They're like, oh, okay. You're not famous. This is one of your few gigs you get. You're a small timer, so it's a perfectly fine deal. The obviously what Matthews was bringing up is if I scan you, and I can use your scan, and I can basically make you an actor any other day. Ooh, that's not right. That's not right at all. So, all right, let's see. I'm not particularly a Snow Brown thing either, but I definitely do get where it comes from. But changing the story, the thing is like, if you didn't know she was Latina, like, where would you say she was from? If just by looking at her, where would you say she's from? Like, I don't know. It's like Ana de Armas. Ana de Armas is Cuban. I wouldn't know unless, well, she does have an accent. And her name kind of gives away her Spanish background. But she, Rachel Ziegler, I don't know where she's from. She's kind of such a mix of things. We talked about this last week. She's such a mix of things. Like, to focus on the skin color, That's also the that kind of issue I have. It's like, well, you're telling me only uh, I guess maybe hiring a completely dark actress like a black like Lupino, what's her name, to play Snow White. Okay, I get maybe that's not the right role for her. Like maybe give her a character that's more fitting for her features. But Rachel Ziegler is just so close. I just maybe I live in Southern California and I'm surrounded by Hispanic people and I'm attracted to Hispanic people. That I just don't see that color so much. It's like to me it just looks like, and even white people have that kind of toned skin around here because everyone's in the sun all the time. I don't know. Yeah, it's just me. Matthew says Hulu will merge with Disney Plus. Fox's catalog will be a great audience that doesn't care about Disney's main brands. Disney will stop neglecting Fox's library or store all. I don't think they will. I don't know what's going on with Fox. Like I was excited about Fox because I wanted to get that library in Disney Plus, but I turn on Disney Plus and guess what? There's only like a tiny sliver of Fox stuff. And like, what's the point? Like, and I know in Europe they offer the Fox stuff. Like the Europeans have like their own version of Fox, like Disney Plus, but it's called like Fox or I don't know what it's called, but it's like not. It's the Fox catalog. And I'm here like I don't really care about the Disney catalog that much. I mean, I wouldn't mind going back and watching old movies once in a while, but it's not my not my thing all the time. So yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that Fox isn't part of the Disney Plus channel. Hulu I wouldn't mind getting because, but right now I just don't have time to watch even the stuff I have right now. So it's like, well, what's the point? So I'm just gonna hang out for a bit, just watch stuff. Watch whatever's on HBO Max and Apple and Amazon that I'm already paying for. The thing I love most about Disney Snow White is the horror aspect, and now it's all here people complaining about the romance. I know, isn't that? Yeah, the romance part is even. What was like two or three scenes in the romance part? There's barely any romance in it. Matthew says Disney gets a lot of hate that I've neglected in Fox's library when it comes to 4K restorations. You're on that 4K restoration. I like 4K, but I'm not. I don't particularly care about it. Her license deals with Comcast are also to blame, probably. Meow Mike says, "Or just make a different movie." I know you can go back to the source material. Snow White's public domain, man, guys. You can make a Snow White as long as you don't have seven dwarves that have certain names. But anybody can make a Snow White movie, but we gotta like. Disney, I just don't understand why they've just been self-destructing with this remake nonsense and how they've just do not seem to even try to make something original. And like I don't mind a remake if it brings something new and interesting, but they're not bringing new interesting. They're just more just changing for the sake of change. I think in 50 years, the new MBA students are going to be studying Disney and seeing what kind of disaster the last 2 years have been for them. Just curious. Now I got to look at the stock price. Let's look at the Disney stock price. Disney's stock price. $85. Let's go for a 5-year. Holy shit. Oh, man. Yeah, that's... Ooh, okay, I gotta put this on screen for you guys. You guys take a look at this. All right, here we go. Fade. Can you still hear me? I think you still hear me. Okay. Sorry. So it's a 5-year graph of their stock price here, and this is 2021, $191, $197.16. 2021. When was Infinity War? Marvel or Avengers? Infinity War was 2018. Okay, so we're riding off of the wave of Avengers. We're super excited about Avengers is like around here, 2018 back here. Little dip down to 98, but then all the way up. This is their height, right? When was the Fox merger? Disney. That's got to be like 2021, right? No, come on. There we go. Disney Fox merger. I think that was 2021, right? 2019. So acquisition was announced on the 2017, completed in 2019. So that was right at, that was a little earlier. So that was back here. Oh, then we had the pandemic. Okay, that was the pandemic created everything. big high at the end of the pandemic because everyone was sitting at home watching TV. And when was She-Hulk? I gotta ask that. She-Hulk. I forget these things because it's been too long. Year. Is it season 2? God damn. Disney Plus. All right. 2022. Okay. So right about here, 2022. Okay, right. I think it was the summer of 22. See, this is when She-Hulk started coming out, and then we created the thing here. So now we're down at $85 a share, off from a high of $997. That is not good. That's half of the price. My God. So yeah. We'll see where they go from here. Anyhow, that was my fun little experiment in market capitalization. Yeah, not good. Not good. Let's see. Rip Laureen Powell Jobs' net worth. I don't know who Laureen Powell is. Should I look it up? Is that Steve Jobs' widow or something like that? Lauren Powell Jobs is Emerson. Oh yeah, widow of Steve Jobs for Apple. Well, I would figure, at some point, if you're a billionaire, that so when I was a kid, I always thought I might be a billionaire, and I was like telling my dad, like, I don't need to be the richest man in the world, but top 14 would be fine. I'm like, well, that ain't gonna happen. But I wonder if you're a billionaire, I don't think you really care that much about your total net worth, because it's like, well, you look at your stock portfolio and like, well, this week I lost $50 million, but the thing is, you didn't really lose $50 million. It's just your net worth is $50 million less than it was a week ago, and then the next week you'd be up $100 million. But it just goes up and down. But it's like, the thing is though, like, that's your net worth on paper. Doesn't mean how much cash you have on hand. Doesn't mean how much cash you have in the bank. It just means the price of all the stocks. So yeah, I don't think net worth is something people really obsess over when you're super, super wealthy. What up, Helium Road? How you doing? You talking about is that the biggest Disney shareholder was Jobs? Oh, okay, gotcha. So the widow had it all. Bullet Sign says, whenever I viewed HDR content, the picture is always darker, like 2 stops darker. The highlights look great, but normally exposed content always seems darker, so I turn it off. Could be you're set. I mean, where are you watching your HDR content? When I viewed it in like a theater designed to showcase HDR, it was never dark. To me, the highlights were always blindingly bright. I remember I went to a Canon event where they were showing off HDR, the new HDR technology, PQ, and all that stuff, all that jazz about HDR. And they showed this little demonstration film, and it really did look like looking out a window. It was so vibrant. The shadows weren't the issue. It was like the bright parts were kind of hard to look at. They were like looking at a light because they were so bright. So maybe you have the opposite problem. You have the highlights pinned where they're comfortable, and the darks now get swamped down at the bottom. Cassidy, my oldest brother, helped me with my tech upgrades to a full HD progressive scan video monitor and PS5. Yeah, remember PS5, or if you're talking about progressive monitors, like for the old video games, remember they all used interlacing. That's why that was the issue. But computers were always progressive. All right, Bullet Science. That's probably because the tone mapping was off and your display is falsely advertised. Yeah, maybe. So that's what I was kind of getting at. Hi, sorry, haven't been on for a while. Have you heard of Sound of Freedom at all? Yeah, I've heard of it. I just haven't seen it. Waiting for it to be released in the UK. No sign of coming to theaters yet. Do you know if it's held back? No. So, I mean, the reason why I don't want to see Sound of Freedom is because I'm just not in the mood for that kind of movie. I got enough stuff going on in my life. I don't need to feel depressed. I just want to see something happy, which you will see if you come down to Vista, the Moonlight Theater. We are doing 42nd Street. All tap dancing, all feel good, not a shred of politics, unless you consider Depression Breadlines politics. No, it's the show we do down there in Vista is like a happy-go-lucky. It's literally like a 40-member cast, and they're all tap dancing their lives as if their lives depend on it, because the stage manager does have a gun. So if you miss a step, it's kaplowy. Anyhow, no, the 42nd Street is a lot of fun, and that's the kind of that's the kind of stuff right now I want to watch. I want to watch like just happy fun. I want to watch people fall in love or feel like they're going to fall in love. I don't want to watch people breaking up and feeling miserable. I don't want to watch a thing about human trafficking. I don't want to deal with that right now in my life. I want like tap dancing. We're in the money. Da, da. I found a dime. We're in the money. Da, 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 da. We have a lot of what it takes to get along. So, yeah, let's see. Did you get to see No Hard Feelings? Yes, I did. I enjoyed No Hard Feelings a lot. Yeah. The two comedies that were racy, the racy comedies was No Hard Feelings and Joy Luck Club. I saw both of those because obviously I wanted something a little lighter fare, and I liked No Hard Feelings more than I liked Joy Luck Club. Not Joy Luck, yeah, no, what was it called? Not Joy Luck Club. Oh dang it, Joy Ride. That's what it was. Watch The Nerd. Maybe we should do that. Yep, you learn something new. Old CRT computer monitors, progressive scan. I think you said that before, Cassidy. Any recommendations for a home projector? Oh, hard. Not really my forte. You got 84-inch 16 by 9 screen. The screen is flimsy, but well, I don't worry about the screen necessarily. I feel like the projectors. It's more about like the power of the projector, like how. And you gotta like spend some serious money to get like some serious dynamic range. And the other thing about monitors I kind of discovered was that resolution is not really very important, I guess, because I guess people are very happy with a 1920 by 1080. Like there's very few 4K projectors. But I guess it's true, when you go to the movie theater, if it's not like advertised as 4K, it's usually a 2K projector. But it's a 2K projector with a really, really good like contrast dynamic range. So, yeah. Yeah, short throw, long throw. There you go. It's the little questions you need to be asking when you get inside the projector business. By the way, if I missed your comment, just put it back. I don't mind. I'll see it again. I'm not going to read everybody's comments. I mean, I'll try to, but if it gets super busy, we don't get to read everybody. All right. For few TVs can display HDR properly, and a lot of them need a lot of calibration. I recommend HD TVs test videos, expert TV tech. He does TV reviews and so forth. Yeah. HDR is cool. It really is cool, but I just want a good story. Give me a good story. I was having a discussion about 24 frames a second. Of course, we got to talk about frame rate. And the guy was like, I watched this movie and it had some parts in it where you could see the 24 frames is a little bit jagged, not so perfectly smooth. I'm like, is that really what you're getting out of these things? That you're just sitting there watching for smooth video? Is that what you're really getting? Is that what you're really after? Do we have to sit here in every single movie like discuss these minor technical? Never mind. Like I'd rather talk about like he was asking me like what, like you were saying documentaries should be shot in 30. I'm like, well, documentaries are shot in 24 all the time. Like, in fact, most of the documentaries are shot in 24. Especially, they look at the HBO HBO documentaries, I think, are one of the best. Obviously, HBO buys documentaries, but so he had me recommend one. I recommended the one on Elizabeth Holmes, the blood Out for Blood in Silicon Valley, the Elizabeth Holmes story. And he's like, yeah, you could see the way they shot it. They did ninja walk. I'm like, okay, they didn't really ninja walk it, but. Anyhow, yeah. So, but it's like you're gonna talk about the frame rate of a documentary rather than like I don't know, the subject matter, much more interesting. Yeah. Event UK said The Jerk, not The Nerd. I've seen The Jerk. Jerk is great. Let's see what else. HGTV's mistakes are only when he tries to talk about the film cinematograph, such as the criticism of a very conservative HDR grading of Blade Runner 4K supervised film. Yeah. Getting back to what I'm saying, I've had enough with the whole. I've had enough talking about technical specs that are beyond are trying to intercede into the realm of the artistic. Like I much rather have artistic intent than technical perfection. Anyhow, got myself an Apple TV Plus subscription. And surprised how cheap this. Yeah, everything is on there is excellent. Yeah, Apple Plus is probably the best value of all of the streamers because they got some good shows. Now the shows take a while, so you'll go through them and not they won't you'll run through all of them pretty quickly. But it's only $7 a month or something like that. It's really cheap. And if you haven't watched it, Ted Lasso, obviously, I don't love the third season. I think if you start the third season, you start watching it, and let's say you just leave it on and fall asleep for about the middle of the movie, and then come back and watch the last 2 episodes, you'll be fine. That's probably that's how I feel with Ted Lasso. I don't like what they did with Nate. I don't think he deserved his comeback. Anyhow, never mind. Another one I would recommend on there is For All Mankind. I would recommend Mythic Quest. One of the guys from actually Charlie Day and the other guy from Always Sunny developed that show. It's called Mythic Quest. It's great. The first 2 seasons are really good. Third one, not too keen on. Foundation's pretty good. Except For All Mankind is a great drama series. If you're into sci-fi, kind of like hard sci-fi, but historical, with a historical twist to it, that's really good. I didn't get into Severance. I tried watching it. I got like 4 or 5 episodes in. And I just lost interest. Like I just don't. There's nothing. I don't care enough about that show. But people like it, so Severance is on there. I'm sure there's others. I just haven't. Oh, and if you like musicals like I did, you can watch Schmigadoon. It's cool. That's why Avatar 2 is so bad. Style over substance. Mind you, the first one was pretty bad too. Yeah, when Avatar 2 came out, everyone's like saying, hey, the whole joke is like go around and try and name one character from Avatar 2. Name one character from Avatar. Most people are like, I don't know. Like name one character from Star Wars. Oh yeah, Han Solo. Name one person from the Marvel universe. Oh, Iron Man. Name one person from Batman. Oh, Joker. Everyone knows all these things, but Avatar's like, what's the name of the dude? I can't think. Honestly, I can't think of the name of the dude. I can't think of any of the people's names from Avatar. But like when Avatar 2, like, oh, you guys are so wrong. This is a cultural phenomenon. It's $2 billion cultural phenomenon. It's making $2 billion. Like, okay, cool. But does anyone talk about Avatar 2 now that we're about only, 8 months away from the movie? Does anyone still talk about Avatar 2? They're going to talk about Barbie movie for another 5 years, I'm sure. They're going to be debating Barbie movie for a long time. Like, I still see things pop up, the reviews of Barbie movie. Right-wingers take down Barbie movie like it's something that needs to be taken down. And then left-wingers like, we'll roast the right-wingers for making fun of Barbie. It's like, whatever. Oh yeah. Home Improvement made me aware that 90s ABC had a 3D week. They had also, so I got to get back into a little bit. For some reason, I got fed this interview with Colin from Whose Line Is It Anyways? I forget his last name. Not Colin Firth, obviously, but the Colin something or other, the bald guy. And he was talking about Drew Carey a little bit because I used to really like the Drew Carey show. The Drew Carey show is one of those shows that kind of like is lost in time. Drew Carey show was huge at the time. Like Drew Carey the person was kind of ABC. Like he kind of owned ABC. He was like the biggest guy there, not just physically, just like like had a big show, and he had a whole 3D week too as well. He had a 3D episode where like hey, look at this bottle. You see this bottle? He'd be doing that the whole time during the week. But then I was watching the outtakes of the Whose Line Is It Anyway? Can you imagine this? So on Whose Line Is It Anyway? They have a guy, and he basically, it's an improv show. So they ask the audience, give me a song that you wouldn't make a job you wouldn't make a song about. Go. And the audience says, mortician. And then it's like, okay, mortician. And then here comes the guy. He's like, no, the studio can't put that on TV. No, we don't want that on TV. So that's his whole job. Is he's like the director kind of. He's a sort of a director network guy, and in the show he's British, so he's always coming on there. Every time they try to do something, it's a little bit off on the edge. He comes in, stops the show. No, we gotta reset, redo that. And eventually, like all the cast members kind of like start making fun of him. Like Ryan Stiles is like aiming a gun every time he shows up on screen. But yeah, it's really really interesting. If you do watch the outtakes from Whose Line Is It Anyway, it's kind of interesting to see all that stuff. I know a guy who is a videophile and a cinephile who has a funny name, and he gives the HDR ratings that go crazy in a way artistic intent. The Light Cannon. There you go. Sorry, I had to drink all that. Wasn't Craig Ferguson on this Drew Carey show? Yeah, so if you watch Craig Ferguson's stand-up comedy, I watched that about a week ago. It's on YouTube. I think it's free. I think he made it free. But he does have a whole discussion. So Craig Ferguson, he took over like midway through the season as Drew Carey's boss. I forget who the boss was before Craig Ferguson. You guys remember that one? Who was the boss before Craig Ferguson? So Drew Carey played the HR manager, and then he worked next door to Mimi, who was that big woman with the big blue like crazy clown makeup thing, and she was assistant to Drew Carey's boss, was like the department head, and I forget who the original one was, but then Craig Ferguson came in, and Craig Ferguson obviously was hilarious, was so good in that role. Like, everyone loved him. So Craig Ferguson's stand-up comedy routine, he said, because Craig Ferguson started writing screenplays, and he wrote, like, one screenplay, I forget the name of it, and it became popular. And then the Rolling Stones guy, one of the Rolling Stones guy, the singer, the singer, lead singer for Rolling Stones says, hey, I got an idea for a movie, but I want you to come meet me here on tour, and we'll talk about my idea. And Craig Ferguson was working at Drew Carey show. He's like, hey, I got to take a couple weeks off. Is that okay, Drew? And Drew's like, dude, go for it. You're going to go talk to the Rolling. Yeah, go take a couple weeks off. Anyhow, so there's a whole story about that. Yeah, and Rigel was the first boss an unseen character? I think you might be right. Yeah, Mick Jagger. Thank you, Helium Road. Mick Jagger was the guy that he was talking about. And then at the end, spoiler alert, at the end of the stand-up comedy routine, Craig Ferguson kind of says like Mick Jagger is everyone loves Mick Jagger. He's but really Keith Richards runs the show. He's the guy that's the boss of the Rolling Stones. Yeah, Craig Ferguson was I never watched his show, and I'm disappointed in myself that I didn't watch his show. For some reason, maybe I wasn't into late night at that point, or I wasn't up at the time. I'm trying to think, like, what else was I watching? I don't remember what else I was watching at the time, but I kind of missed the fact. I kind of lament the fact I didn't watch enough Craig Ferguson. I really didn't. So, currently watching G.I. Jane. Wondering if their G.I. tranny will come out. Am I going to get in trouble for saying that? No, it's okay So G.I. Jane is fine because it's a woman. Wait. So it's a woman trying to break into a man's world. That's okay. But if it's a man trying to break into a woman's world, now that wouldn't, they would support that, right? Maybe. Or maybe it's Victor Victoria. So it's a woman pretending to be a man, pretending to be a woman. Oh, there you go. We just came up with the next brilliant, $1 million idea here. So it's like Victor Victoria. So it's a woman who's like the best swimmer in the world. But she can't get in the college team, so she pretends to be a man who's transitioning to being a woman. And then she gets on the swimming team. There you go. We just did it. We found the most offensive. We found what part of the society will find the most offensive movie script ever. All that's left to do is raise $1 million. One for me and one for each one of you in the chat. And then we'll cast the movie, and then we'll go to Rio before they find out. We'll sell it to Disney before they find out. Glenn or Glenda. It's Victor or Victoria. Anyhow. It's a woman pretending to be a man, pretending to be a woman. The YouTube channel Jay Leno Fly has an archive pretty much the whole day on YouTube. Oh, Jay Leno Fly, the Craig Ferguson show. All right. Ooh, Rec Films Montana picked up an FX30. Going to go shooting some more short films next summer. Why wait till next summer? Do it now. Building all the screenplays this year, but time for independence to fill the coming gap. Yep, I agree. The hardest part about right now is figuring out how to make money on this stuff, right? Like, so here's maybe I'm a little bit old, maybe I'm in the wrong generation, but like some of my friends are very allergic to paying for media. Like they don't want they pirate stuff, right? And I don't like to pirate stuff. Not that I don't occasionally do it, especially for harder to find movies that like maybe aren't even available. You know, so you have to pirate them because it's the only choice. But like I don't mind paying for YouTube Red or whatever the hell is YouTube Premium now. I don't mind the subscription because it's like, well, you know, I'm getting a lot of service. I'm getting a lot of benefit out of the service. But it's like, you could use ad blocker. You could do this. You could do that. It's like, well, yeah, but I'd rather just pay for the service. It's not that much money. And I get like, you know, ad-free playing and all that, play in the background, all that stuff. Some of my friends are just kind of allergic to paying for media. But I go on I watch these podcasts and people are super chatting. They're sending $10, they're sending $100, they're sending this much money to the guy to read it. And believe me, I welcome super chats, but you know, I'm not going to require super chats because this is more of a casual hangout group. But people are super chatting too. They're sending money just for the chance that the person will read their comment. You know, that seems weird. On one hand, they'll give them $10 so they'll get like a comment read, but they won't. But my friends won't pay $10 for like YouTube or Netflix or whatever, $18 a month for Netflix and get all that. And yeah. So my point with all that was, as independent producers, as independent people outside the studio system, we have to figure out a way to actually make money. And part of that might be also that the audience has to be comfortable paying money for independently produced projects. I don't know. Like that's the barrier. It's always been the barrier, right? It's been the barrier since the beginning of film history. Since film was a commercial endeavor, getting paid for films was always the problem. Right? That was, you know, if we can get money to pay for, people will buy our movie, then we can justify spending money on a movie, where we can get loans and we can get credit for, you know, making the movie, and people can get paid. Right? It all boils down to the fact if we can't sell it, we can't make money making them. So we can't put money into making them, right? So if independents want to succeed, we got to figure out a way to make money. That's the key. We got to make money doing this. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. I wish I wish they would super chat on a YT premiere of a film, but they won't. That might be a bad idea. I only pirate Disney movies. Arg. Do you get like a little achievement unlock if you pirate Pirates of the Caribbean? You should, right? You should, when you're downloading Pirates, like a little achievement unlocked, pirated the pirates. Yeah, musicians have always had day jobs unless they're superstars. That's kind of like, well, it's even more so today. You know, like most musicians actually their day job is to teach music. Like I know all the really good musicians I know, like the professional level musicians I know, they basically supplement their income with teaching. That's all they do, with lessons. You know, they perform. I perform with them. You know, they're amazing. They're better. They're honestly better musicians than I am. I have experience and I have some talent. That's what I have as far as my musicianship. I don't have a lot of training. I mean, I do, but I've got that eye for like the eye for small details or ear for small details. That's what I am as a musician. I didn't go to conservatory. You know, I don't even consider music my main job. I consider it a hobby at best. You know, but you know, what was I saying? Musicians and day jobs. Yeah, so the musicians I know that are Like they are to music the way I am to filmmaking. That's filmmaking's that's me. That's I when I thought about this when I was in school, and every time I wonder if I should have just gone to finance. I should have become a financier. I should have become worked, in investment or in IPOs and stuff like that, and made buckaroos. I probably have the brains to do it, but I kept coming back like, well, if I did that, I would be making movies on the weekend, and that's what I would do. And I would do that for 20 years, and I would quit and retire, and then make movies. And it's like, well, I might as well just make movies now. I didn't realize how hard it would be financially, but somebody's like, I should have gone that path, made some money, got a trophy wife or two, but never mind. But yeah, no, but yeah, all the musicians I know, they even though they are full-time musicians, they are teachers basically. There you go. Jack Ripper got me a super chat. Jack Ripper says, for $2.74 Canadian, I think it's Canadian. Read my chat, Johnny. And scene. We just did it. Thank you for the super chat. That just like doubled the revenue I make off these streams right there. $2.79. Yeah. I'm going to go out and buy myself a bag of ice with that money. I probably need to throw another $1 to get that bag of ice. It is California. Just invest what you earn in crypto and you'll be fine. So, all right, I'll tell you a story. So would it surprise you to learn that I have joined online dating sites? Would that surprise you? I'm pretty sure it wouldn't. You can look at me and say that's a candidate for online dating if there is such a candidate, if there is such a person. So I go on these online dating, and I'm half Asian. I'm half Taiwanese. My mom's from Taiwan. So and for a long time I wasn't attracted to Asian girls because it's like, well, I was trying to become Americanized. I was trying to become Americanized and be American. And then, later in my life, I've kind of respected my roots in the Asian culture, so I've been attracted to Asian girls, and so I'll get these profiles of these Asian girls, and I get some I'm going to brag a little bit. I get some amazingly hot Asian girls that reach out to me. And you know what's amazing about all these beautiful, just stunning, like model quality Asian girls, is they all work for their father's import and export business. And the other thing that's amazing about these Asian girls is they love cryptocurrency, and they can't wait to tell me about how to invest in cryptocurrency. I don't understand why I'm so attractive to Asian women who work for import-export businesses who seem to lead a really idyllic life. They have photos of them all over the world, and they all have hobbies in cryptocurrency. Well, I don't know. Life's mysteries, right? Just those weird mysteries of the universe. Why, some guys have it, I guess. That's all it is. Jack Dripper says, well, Hearst. Oh, well, see, now I mentioned super chats, and all of a sudden you guys are sending, thank you so much for the super chats. From Certain Exposure says, quote, She's the Man was a great movie. It was a peak Amanda Barnes. Oh, there we go, Amanda Barnes. A young YouTuber got $1 million on Kickstarter to make his movie. That seems like the ideal path when outside the industry. There you go. That's a super chat from Certain Exposures. Thank you for the super chat. You've tripled the money I'm going to make on this stream. Right there. Tripled it. Now I can afford that cryptocurrency. I got to unload that Dogecoin that my friend was like, oh, we're in the money. We're making a bunch of money on Dogecoin. And we did for about a month. And then it all went to shit. I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to hold on to my Dogecoin and give it to my, hopefully I'll have some grandkids. But they're like, hey, Dad, thanks for this Dogecoin. It's worth like less money than you bought it for, even though it's been 50 years. It hasn't caught up with inflation. Healing Road is a face made for radio. I know it's not a face. It's a face made for hot Asian models that are really into cryptocurrency. Really into cryptocurrency. Yeah. Okay. I haven't told my friends. I'm going to be very raw here. Are you getting ready for some very raw talk here? You ever look at yourself with a photo, and you look at yourself in a photo, and you're standing next to a girl that you're kind of attracted to, and you're in a photo together, and you're like, God damn, I'm ugly. And you just feel like, oh God. I did that one time. Like I did, like I don't know what. Maybe I'm just a neurotic. This was one girl I was super attracted to. Messed me up big time for like really big. And I need to write a little thing about her. I need to express that thing in art. But like I literally just I took her photo. I took photos of her. Like she came for a photo session. I took some photos, and I took a photo of myself, and I put them side by side, and like, am I in that league or not? Okay, and I think back then I looked a little bit better than I do now. Obviously, I was like 10 years ago, so I felt it looked better. But I was like, like she's really pretty. I don't think I'm in that league. I think I'm in that league. I think I'm there. But then the recent photo was taken at an event, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I am not in that league whatsoever. So, the positive spin on it. The positive spin on it is she is not in my league. No, sir. She's not even close to my league. That's how you should think. That's the reframe you need. She is not in my league. Not even close. Now, I'm playing basketball. She's playing baseball, but still, she's not in my league at all. Alrighty. Rich people gambling is pretty normal, not a mystery. Yeah, you gotta do something with all that money. I think of having Apple TV Plus, not so much because of the stream, because Apple account to rent and buy movies, though the movies you buy digitally can be taken away, unlike physical media. Yep. Cassidy says, 4 minutes. My AV to HDMI converter for my VCR connected to my monitor detects VCR as NTSC, but PAL with VHS, which confused me at first, but then I looked at it and it made the sense why. Yeah, that's confusing. So VCRs obviously are interlaced in NTSC and stuff like that, but why would it register as PAL? I'm not ugly. My sis would love you. Well, there you go. Well, give me your name at least. Come on, hook a brother up. I think any artist must follow their passion because they love it. To be clear, fighting for fair rewards is important. My point is that most artists in history don't ever earn great deal money and fame. It's the old joke, right? It's the old painters are never famous till they're dead, right? Okay, seems like you should stick to the 24 frame gang. Anyway, have you seen Sound of Freedom by now? No, I haven't seen any movie by now. I still haven't seen Oppenheimer. I haven't seen Sound of Freedom. I don't think I've watched a movie. The only movie I watched in last week was Jersey Boys. I think I talked about it last week. So, because this week, literally every night I was at the theater. Every night. You want to talk about 42nd Street? If you watched my video on the history of musicals, I talk about the 1933 movie, or I think it was History of Sound. Because 42nd Street was one of the first musicals ever made in sound. Never, I take that back. I take that way back. No, it wasn't near the first. But anyhow, if you've seen The Big Lebowski, then you've seen like has elements influenced by 42nd Street, because it's widely known. I think it's widely known if you're keen on those things that Farley, not Farley Brothers. What the hell what is The Big Lebowski's directors? My God, Ethan and oh my God, this is terrible. The first thing to go, second thing to go is your memory. All right. Well, they're very inspired by Bugsby Berkeley, and so the scene where the Big Lebowski is like all the showgirls are splitting their legs, and the camera goes underneath the legs, and it turns out it's the Big Lebowski, and he's like floating along, and he turns around and he starts smiling. That's a reference to 42nd Street, the movie, because there is a portion in the movie where all the girls do a split and the camera goes between their legs, and it finally ends on the lead and the lead girl, the lead male and lead female at the very end singing like 42nd Street. Coen Brothers, thank you. My God, how can I totally get that up? How can I forget that? It's warm today, but I've got a fan on. That's why I keep putting my arms down, because my fan's like, yeah. No, I have not seen Heat or Swordfish. I gotta watch those damn movies. I want to watch the movies. I watch Heat and Swordfish. Oh, you didn't like Oppenheimer last week? Real effort not to walk out, utter crap. That's a shame. I don't know. I think I'll be intrigued by it, but I kind of feel like I'm going to be a little bit like it won't be my favorite movie. Like kind of like Dunkirk was not my favorite war movie, and definitely Tenet was not my favorite. Nolan should just go back to making like linear movies. Like stop the timey wimey stuff, and just do a linear movie. What's my favorite King Kong movie? I don't remember seeing the 1976 remake. I think I'm not in love with King Kong. The Peter Jackson 2005 was good, but it wasn't. It didn't capture my imagination. So I'm going to default to 1933 because I've seen that a couple. I think I've seen it a couple times, and just remember watching it and thinking like, this is just fun and entertaining. Like it does. It's not scary because it's the animation's still. I won't say primitive because it's obviously very very advanced, but it's not. It's not done in a way that's meant to be horrifying, or in a way that Jurassic Park is. But it's so clever and it's so charming. I guess you want to put it that way. That I think, to me, like the 33 version would probably still be my favorite, just because it's got a charm that the other two don't. Richie, just like Nolan, just like Richie's maybe saying lost his mojo lately. I think it's partly the stuff. I think it just goes to his head. Like oh, the other one we didn't mention was Interstellar. Like Interstellar has a lot of great moments. I think Interstellar of all his latest work, Interstellar is probably my favorite. But Interstellar still, when I think of Interstellar, I think of a 50s B movie. I really do. Like I don't think of that as like a very lofty high sci-fi. I feel like it feels like a 50s movie with a 50s sci-fi not Forgotten Planet. What the hell is that? I can't think straight. I'm not up on versed on my 50s B movies. But basically it's like astronauts get in a spaceship and they travel to this planet. And they travel to this planet. But like, modern sci-fi is so like something like The Expanse, where it's like, no, to travel that distance you have to put on some serious G's and like sit on the ship for like 6 months. Kind of thing. Yeah. Cassidy says PAL had better quality than NTSC, so AV to HDMI using PAL as a basis digitally. No, that's not true. So PAL doesn't have better quality than NTSC, and if you actually if you want to be super super pedantic, NTSC, the SVHS NTSC is actually better quality than PAL. Super VHS, that wasn't restricted to the bandwidth limitation of over-the-air broadcast, so it has a little bit better quality. And by quality too, they also judge it based on the fact that you have the frame rate is higher, 60 versus 50. Sure, and PAL trades some of that frame rate away for a slightly larger, taller image or slightly more lines. But realistically, I mean, from everybody's standpoint, PAL and NTSC are the same quality. All the hype you hear about how like PAL has basically a corrective mechanism in there for correcting color phase shifts, which is why it's called PAL, phase alternating line, I believe is what PAL stands for. So it fixes one major bug that's in NTSC, because NTSC, what happens is the color can kind of phase out of, when you're broadcasting it through like distances and it hits a mountain or something like that, the color signal will kind of phase out. So that's why you had a hue knob on your NTSC TV, was to try to bring the colors back into normal situations. But within 10 years they developed fixes for that. So by 1960, when PAL was around, the NTSC and PAL are essentially the same thing. The only difference is the technical specs are different. I mean, you could say PAL's slightly bit better, maybe because it had the error correction. Okay. But if you're not worried about broadcasting it, then PAL and NTSC are essentially the same thing. I mean, quality-wise. Prestige is still my favorite. I have to go back and watch Prestige because I remember watching it. I saw my friends. We went to my friend's house because his uncle wanted us to play for his church, play trumpet for his church. So we went to stay at his uncle's house, and his uncle's like, "Hey, you gotta watch this movie. I love this. It's called Prestige." I'm like, whatever. I'll watch Prestige." I watched it, and I enjoyed it, but it was one of those situations like I was at somebody's house, and I was like, I wasn't like prepared to watch a movie, so I gotta rewatch Prestige. Meow Wang loved Oppenheimer. There you go. Although I think I disagree with Nolan's decision not to use some CGI. That's what everyone's saying. Like the nuke explosion looked a little like a gas fire explosion. It just didn't look as cool as it could have looked. Yeah, disliked Interstellar for a number of reasons: bad science, boring stretches, and Matthew McConaughey. I think Matthew McConaughey did okay. I agree with the bad science. Like they made a big whole deal about how scientifically accurate it was. Like, oh, we're portraying. And the black hole portrayal was kind of cool because that's the first time that black hole was portrayed that way in pop culture, right? The accretion disk kind of look to it. But then the science is like, there's one force more powerful, and it's love. It's like, okay, it's like okay. Oh, someone's trying to call me. I'll talk to him in a second here. Evan Bryce said NTSC is never the same color. Well, never the same color. Of course, that was before we talked about that color correction thing in there. I mean, by the time I was messing with NTSC, there was that color issue was never an issue again. Of course, we could PAL is for pay another licensing fee. That's what I'm going to say. PAL is. Have you ever seen the anime Millennium Actress by Satoshi Kon? No, I haven't. Millennium Actress. So. Is that the name of it? Millennium Actress? Check it out. Over here across the pond, they show classic oldie in the big cinema chains every now and then lately. Is that thing in the comment? Is that a thing in California as well? Hey, I wish it was California. We gotta pay. We got a free market porny over here. No, never mind. Yeah, occasionally they do the old second run theater used to do that every month. They would show a classic, and I saw like Raiders of the Lost Ark. I saw Blade Runner. Blade Runner you have to watch in the movie theater. Don't watch Blade Runner on a small TV and think like, oh, I know Red Letter Media makes fun of Blade Runner for being very slow and boring, but that's because you're not watching on a big screen like in a cold theater, and you're watching Deckard say, zoom in, enhance. Zoom in, enhance. And doing that in a big theater and it's quiet, you can just hear the air conditioner. You can hear the ambient sounds of this room. It's such an atmospheric movie. It doesn't work if you're watching it on a small TV or even on your phone. If you're watching a movie on your phone and you think you're watching a movie, you're fucking out of your mind. Look up David Lynch saying that. Look at David Lynch Apple commercial. It's a fake commercial where he's like making fun of people that watch movies on their phone. But yeah, and I watched Clockwork Orange. They would do Rocky Horror Picture Show every October, show a couple of the horror classics in October. But they stopped doing that, I think. And then they became a first run theater because second run theaters don't really mean anything in the era of streaming. In fact, there's there's no secondhand prints, right? The prints used to be they would take the prints from the major theaters and give them to the secondhand studio or secondhand movie theater. But now it's all digital, so what's the difference? There's no difference. So they rebranded as a first-rate theater. I haven't been there yet, so yeah, I miss seeing those. I really think they should do more of that. I wanted to do for a long time a silent picture screening, but it's a lot of effort because what I wanted to do was I wanted to get my band together and do live accompaniment to silent pictures. And I found one group that would supply you with the sheet music for an old movie. Obviously you want to do like a Buster Keaton movie. Like that would be the goal. Or Harold Lloyd was also a good one that I would pick out. I want to do a comedy, to show that silent films with a comedy, with a live orchestra playing the music with the show. Just never got around to doing it. It's a lot of effort to put all that together. I don't have the effort. And I didn't really have the money either. It's like $600 to rent that. I had to pay the rental fee for some of the movies too, because some of the movies are still in copyright. Anyhow. It took me a few watches to appreciate Blade Runner. Took me a few watches also to appreciate 2001: Space Odyssey. That's that first time I saw it as like a 15-year-old kid. Too hard to watch. If you want to watch things that are only happy, give anime made by Kyoto Animation. They're a masterpiece to cheer people up. Okay, check that out. I took the love comment more as a flaw or weakness in the character, not the movie. The rest of the crew clearly disagreed with her. Oh, I don't know. Well, I think the whole message was that the love between McConaughey and his daughter was what transcended the fourth dimension. Yeah, I don't know. Deakins and Villeneuve knocked it out of the park. Are we talking about Dune or isn't Dune Villeneuve? I think it was. Or Blade Runner 2070. I've only watched that once, but I really like that too. All right. When I hear about the movie theater, I feel like I'm in the USA in the 50s. Okay. You don't have movie theaters in your part of the woods, in your part of the world? Have you seen the movie Cinema Paradiso? I've never seen it, but I'm familiar with the imagery of that. I mean, that's got a lot of movie. Or watch The Dreamers, where they go into France. That's good. That's a good movie. How long have we been on here? I need to get going probably pretty soon. Getting tired. Went on for an hour. That's all. Let's hang out for a little bit more. Here, I'll tell my friend who called. Join us in chat. Let's see here. There we go. I'll text my friend. Maybe he'll come. Maybe he'll pop over. Yeah, so sorry, this is very exciting. You're watching me chat somebody here. I'm on stream right now. Come and check it out. I'll call you after. There we go. All right. Let's go to your comments again here. Here we go. All right. King Kong was made as an entertainment blockbuster, but also endures because its story and iconography feel and the grand myth of as old as time, something that always existed waiting to be found. There you go. Interstellar was meh, says account for comment. PS4. I connected my PS4 Slim to my old Philips TV via an HDMI to AV cable converter and noticed a slight quality increase with PAL compared to NTSC that was just the general mundane output. Yeah, but the thing I question about all of that is, what is your TV? Like, so if your TV is PAL, then, well, I guess your TV could probably take PAL or NTSC. Remember that PAL too is slightly more vertical resolution, right? Slightly more because it's like 625 lines versus 575 lines. So it's a slightly bit more. So maybe that equates to why you think you see a little bit of a increased quality. That might be why. But like I said, the overall quality, but the thing is, you're losing the frame rate, so you're going down to 50 frames a second, 50 fields a second versus 60. So it's like a trade-off. If you do the math, I think if you go on Wikipedia, and they'll say that Super VHS, not broadcast, not considered not broadcast safe, would be slightly better as far as like the amount of data. But anyhow. Oh, yeah, Deakins didn't do Dune? Yeah, I didn't think that was a Deakins. It didn't look like Deakins. Cinema Paradiso, but almost all the critics, including Ebert, hated the director's cut. I've never, like I said, never seen it. I need to watch it. I've just seen clips of it. Hey, so the Linus Tech Tips drama blew up, eh? What drama? I don't even know what this Linus Tech Tips drama is. Should I go into it? Linus Tech Tips drama, or I'm just going to get like a ton of drama? Oh, ethics and reporting, or allegations of sexual harassment prompting the company to hire outside investigator. Oh, that's not good. The thing I don't like I'll be honest. I don't like when, like, I'm looking at Linus's photo on this "What Do We Do Now" video. I don't like it when channels air their laundry like this. Although it's kind of hypocritical when you say that, because that's what I do on this live stream, isn't it? But I always, I just don't like, I know Linus did a video saying, like, we need to talk about some big news. And it's like, clickbait. And it was basically, he was stepping down as the CEO. He's having a new CEO, and he was just going to be like creative director or whatever. But, whatever. You know, is it surprising that people that are in new media, who maybe came to new media without any like previous media training or working in large companies, that maybe there's issues with running a media company that, you know, that aren't, for all these new media naive people who with stars in their eyes, you know, like real high-minded concepts of how to do things. It's surprising that they're also running the same kind of HR problems that basically all companies have dealt with since the beginning of time. As much as you know, you're young and you're like, I'm going to change the world. I got a new way of doing business. We're going to do it this way. And then what happens? Watch any movie on the subject. You know, they start off with these high ideals, and all of a sudden, you know, the reality of running a company catches up with you once you actually make a decent amount of money. So, yeah, you know, I like Linus Tech Tips. I enjoy some of their content, but it is what it is. What would you say is a good way to market your short film to gain traction and a potential follow-up feature? Good question. If I knew precisely how to do it, I wouldn't be here. No, it's true. I wouldn't be here. The thing of the matter is, I don't know. I feel like more and more it's about the audience. It's not about you. You know, first of all, I think you're not going to sell. You never sell the short film. You put it out there and you just show it, and you show it everywhere. You put it on, you know, social media and all that. You're not going to make money on the short film. You just put it out there. You know, maybe I don't think film festivals are really I mean, enjoy, go to a film festival or two. Don't put a whole lot of stock in film festivals. They're not a thing. So I wouldn't worry too much about film festivals. I would say just make something really good, and then you may have to make another couple other things that are really good. I don't know. You're talking to somebody that's somewhat disillusioned with the whole idea of Hollywood, like, you know, it'd be cool if Disney tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, we want you to direct the next live-action remake of The Great Mouse Detective, John." And I would probably say yes, because why the hell not, right? But is that a dead end? Is that a dead end, or would I be better off making my own thing and making a whole lot less money? I don't know. So my disillusioned take on your question is just get it shown as much as you can. Do not be precious about it. Put it out there, get it seen, and get noticed, and build an audience. I think more importantly, more audiences are more important than your skills. If you have an audience, you will get recognition, you will get the money, you will get the opportunities. If you have skills but not an audience, no one cares, because everybody has skills. I can just hire a bunch of people to get skills. You know, it's all about what can you do for the people paying you money. It's not about, no one's going to pay you money because they love your short, they love your ideas. No, they're paying you because they can make money off of you. That's what it is. Anyhow, I think it's the boobies. If you have boobies, it will sell the internet. Remember the movie Hardcore Harry? Remember that was based on this one YouTube video? And guess what that had in its thumbnail? That's right. Boobies. It had literally just a girl. It was a girl in a bikini with like her top. girl in a bikini top, and she was like, I think squeezing them together a little bit. Don't you like when I do that? Yeah, I do. I bet you do. I bet you creeps do. Anyhow, so that was the thumbnail for this hardcore Henry seed idea. And what it was, it was just a run, it's a first person shot thing where he runs down the thing, he jumps on the roof, and this girl was sunbathing, and that was the thumbnail. He jumps on the roof, and the girl's sunbathing. Oh my god, that kind of thing. And that's what became the thumbnail, and that's what got everything. That's what got it all. So rather than self-market a short film on YouTube, then pay for a film festival, I would say go pay the film festivals, the ones that you can attend. Don't try to get into film festivals you can't attend. Don't try to send your off to like Sundance or Slam Dance unless you really think you got a chance. I mean, okay, buy a lotto ticket, send it to Sundance. All right, that's a lotto ticket, but don't go sending it to like Des Moines International Film Festival if you don't live anywhere near Des Moines. Right, don't sell it to Cleveland International Film Festival unless you live in Cleveland. Right, just keep it local and maybe buy a couple lotto tickets to the big ones like Sundance and TFT or Tribeca and stuff like that. Do that, but don't go crazy with the film festivals. And then because if you do local film festivals, you can introduce you to local talent. And that's always, you can network with local talent. You can have fun at these things. You can go to the party. It's a party, but don't go nuts on the film festivals. And then, YouTube. I think YouTube is the new platform for this stuff. You can market it through like YouTube, obviously through you can buy ads on it, buy ads for it. You could push it through like the social medias, that kind of thing. Best I can give you. I got to put up my the Pitch Black film that I made like 13 years ago and won an award for. I got the file now. I mean, I found it because I was showing my class the trailer for it, and got it out there. All right, what else we got here? Make a bunch of movies with similar content with friends and publish them at the same time. Don't worry about timing as far as YouTube is concerned because people find your content, in time or not. It's not if you're all a bunch of unknowns and you put all your content, you put a lot of effort to release all your content at the same time, it doesn't matter. It's all just gonna like sit there and gather like 100 views and that's it. So don't knock yourself out trying to like coordinate timing on all that stuff. Just get it out there. Just get it out there. Even if you can stagger it too, like release one every week. If you can make 50 short films and release one every week for a year, that's actually not a bad strategy, That's 50 short films. It's a lot. I was told by an artist that to be an artist, somebody else, not the person, had to call him or her an artist. I didn't understand it at the time, but now I knew he related to the biggest challenge. Perhaps. I'm not quite following that, but have I made a film on YouTube and Vimeo? I would check out your style. Yeah, I mean, the thing is though, if you watch the film, you're going to judge my style as it was 12 years ago. But like my style is, you can see a lot of the stuff I do on my channel on YouTube. I mean, that's a little bit of my style. It's not all of my style, but I don't necessarily have a particular style. I mean, I do have a tendency. I do have a tendency for certain kinds of things, but I don't know. It's not a conscious thing. It's not like I'm deciding I want to do it this particular way. Here we go. Offer to the world not one, but something you can see from far away. That's not bad. Twitter X too. Now, assuming you shell out $8, the monetization policy looks amazing. That's only $8 though. Yeah, Joel Haver used to do or does weekly short films, silly stuff, but absolutely hilarious. I used to do monthly short films, but we showed them at this restaurant, and I I promised the guys like I'll make you a short film every time we do these. It's like they call it sipping shorts, kind of. Well, it wasn't called sipping shorts, but it's kind of like that. So they go to a bar and they would show this movie. It was a bar restaurant. They would show people short films. Anybody would show up with a short film and we'd screen it for everybody. And I would do these, yeah. And we had fun watching a couple of my short films, and they're okay. But this one guy comes with a short film, a zombie short film, and it was about a guy and a girl that fell in love, and then she got bitten by a zombie, so she turns into a zombie. But he still loves her madly, so he ties her up to a bed, and she starts turning into a zombie, but she's all tied. She's tied up in bed, and then he proceeds to go down on her. Not graphically, though. Not graphically. It wasn't graphic at all. But it was he's trying to think that he's gonna turn her. Yeah. So and then the guy that ran the thing was like, oh, don't worry, the controversy is always good. No, controversy is not always good. They shut that thing down. They stopped doing that immediately after that showing of the zombie cunnilingus movie. So yeah, that was done. Lesson learned. Not all bad press is good. In fact, sometimes it's very bad. What's the last thing you shot on analog film? I only shot photos on analog film, and I like it, but it's a lot of work. And sometimes I just want the photo and not so much the process of doing the analog film style. Did I see your 2 comments? Matthias, this is not the Matthias channel, dude. If I don't see your comment, I don't see it. I think I saw it. I just been moving ahead on other stuff. The 100K FPS short film. Find something interesting that lasts a little and stretch it to a short movie with a narration. They do that in YouTube. Okay. The point is that somebody else to appreciate your art if you want to be known as an artist. Okay. I forget what your point with that, with the be referenced as the artist, not the person, but the artist. Yeah, that makes sense. Rigel says, "What about me?" Yeah, I'm starting to phase out here. I'm getting tired. So yeah, I guess you could do some other stuff. Is it raining yet? I was kind of hoping it would rain tonight, honestly, because then we'd cancel the show. Then I wouldn't have to do another show tonight, but I got to do a show tonight because I packed up everything. I packed up everything last night just in case they'd cancel the night show, because I don't know the forecast. But I think the hurricane is still just south of Baja, Mexico. I don't think it's quite made landfall in Mexico yet. So we're not going to get it probably till Sunday night. That's when we're actually going to get the hurricane hitting us. And if you're watching this in the future, it's still Saturday night. So, all right. Well, let me end this here because I think I've been on here for like an hour and I've been on here for an hour 45. Never mind. I've been on here for a long time. All right, Matthews, I'll read your comment. It takes only one person to appreciate you as an artist, yourself. You create art, you are an artist. It is the art because you said so and you created it. I agree with that. Now, if you only get someone to pay you for it, that's the other part. I just need some payment so I can focus all my time on creating art rather than focusing my time on creating this other thing or that other thing or, a day job or something. If you can get money doing it, man, that's the best way to do it. Hey, bro, happy weekend. What's the coming big hype movies from Hollywood do you feel? Dune 2, probably. That's the only one I'm looking forward to. That's about it. I'm too tired to think about other movies. All right, on that note, I'm going to call it. I'm getting a little too warm here. So, yeah, I've got updates on what's happening next. I've got the date set for my table read, and I've got I want to write another script for my table read, and I've got a script I'm working on for multicam for that day. We'll shoot them at the same time. And so that's happening in 2 weeks. So hopefully we'll have some new videos here within a month or so. And other than that, I'm just trying to get through a bunch of other stuff right now. So probably not any other Filmmaker IQ stuff related quite yet. But we'll still be streaming, and we'll still hang out over here. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me. I'm gonna go kind of chill out for a little bit before I have to go down to the show because I don't think it's gonna rain out today. I think we'll be fine. All right, we shall see you later. Thanks for hanging out. Go out and make something great. I'm John Hess. See you at filmmakeriq.com.